And we are live.
Yo. Sorry for the delay. I said around 3.
It's around 3.
Technically around 3. We are in the 3 o'clock hour. Before the half hour, talking Nets, Keith McPherson, Hudson Flynn, TN Fam. I see some of y'all in the chat. Terrible MVP L Jack going off with the emoji. Happy emoji day. We're not going to waste too much time, though. We just got to get a tweet out saying, hey, Hudson and I are live. Let's do that. Okay. All right, Hudson, look at the camera. Okay. Let's hit that Talking Nets Twitter, which is now at 13.5. Going to probably hit 14 by the end of the month, just the way, things are trending. It's at 3.7 now. Woo!
13.7. Come on.
That
Summer League got a 50 follower boost yesterday from the Summer League. Doing the work, doing the business.
Yeah, in the off season. Let's go. All right. It's around 3 p.m. We're live. We're live now. Where's this YouTube link? Yeah. For those that don't know, we are coming to you live from our individual homes. And this is all produced by yours truly. And honestly, I do a bunch of other things besides produce Talking Nets during the day. So I apologize if we are late, if we are slow for you, but it's really like a sorry,
We're here.
not sorry.
We're
it's
doing
really
it.
like a sorry, not sorry type of thing. Like, we are here to talk Nets and NBA and basketball and rumors and signings and free agency and the Olympics. Okay, it's around 3 p.m. We're live now. Tweet. Let's see here. Got the notes ready. I am now recording on my end. And I got some notes up. I'm going to count us in. It's exactly 3:30. We'll go to probably 4:15 or 4:30 max, depending on the conversation and topics and everything. Just trying to get to everything. So,
whoa, wait, what?
Get it.
There's a podcast using your voice in their intro?
Using my voice?
Yeah, look at the comments. At Keith, how do you feel about We Got Nets podcast using your voice in their intro? I'm going to have to look this up.
What do I say? I've never heard of that podcast. Oh no, We Got Nets. I know who that is. Y'all are throwing me off. I don't care. I'm flattered, I guess. Flattering. Nets world. Oh, they took my Brooklyn. Yeah, because usually I'd be doing that in the stadium as loud as I humanly can. And I'll be leading them shits. All right. In the arena, Yankees Stadium, Barclays Center is an arena. I always do like those things like backwards. I'll say like refs, umps. I'll say like locker room, clubhouse. I'll say arena, stadium, which doesn't
Arena
matter.
Stadium gets me. Arena Stadium gets me every time.
We know the difference, but people are like, when you're on the internet and you do podcasts and stuff, people look for anything to try and correct you on. Ray Romano says, Keith, are you as angry as me? About what?
About what?
I got nothing to be angry about with the Nets right now. And we're going to talk about a few things in just a moment. So counting us in for the intro, and then we'll start the episode. So here we go. Talking Nets, episode 119. KD wins gold. Summer League starts. We are in August. It's a little later summer for us NBA fans than we're used to, but we're getting there. And what I like about this late summer is before we know it, preseason camp is going to open. Preseason games are going to start, and we're going to roll right into the fall and right into the season that the Brooklyn Nets will win the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Wow, I can't even talk. Will win the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Today, we're going to talk about KD winning the gold, Team USA. We're going to talk about the Summer League, Cam Thomas, Day'Ron Sharpe, a couple other guys we saw yesterday, and obviously the signings, the news, and everything else in the Nets world. Talking Nets, episode 119. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Talking Nets, episode 119. Keith McPherson and Hudson Flynn joining you on Tuesday, August 10th, 2021. Yeah, 2021. Here to talk NBA, but specifically talk Nets. That's what we do here. Thank you for joining us in the chat. YouTube, I see y'all going in. I will say to save some of those questions for later, because we'll come back to you guys, but feel free to talk amongst yourselves. Shout out to Apple, shout out to Spotify, shout out to people listening wherever you listen to your podcasts. These off-season podcasts are going to turn up. We're getting closer to the season. There's going to be more to report on. If you follow us on Twitter, you probably saw Hudson clipping up the Summer League game. And, I almost clipped up some of USA versus Australia the other night, but it was just too late. It was like 1 a.m. But either way, Hudson Flynn, can you say hello to the people?
How we doing, everybody? Oh, my goodness. We are back. And I'm excited. We've got some serious news. These last couple of podcasts, in terms of off-season news, in terms of things to have to talk about, we're back in the swing of things. We're done with that weird like purgatory where it's like the season ended and the draft's in like 2 weeks. We're done with that. We have our team. We have the Summer League. We know who got traded for. We know who got traded away. We know who got signed. And I'm excited to talk about all of it. I'm just excited to be a Nets fan. And like you said, we have a short summer, which means a quick start to the season. And seeing the Nets back in action last night in the Summer League, that's what it really got me thinking. Even though it wasn't the real Nets, even though it wasn't their real jerseys, wasn't their real coach, wasn't their real team, to sit down on the couch and turn on Nets basketball, to start clipping up the games, all of that, it just felt phenomenal. And I'm excited to be back, and I'm excited to talk about everything that we have going on here.
Yo, I don't mean to laugh. I'm looking in the chat. I'm like, Keith McPherson, y'all got to stop trolling me. Like, somebody is in the chat with my face and my name, and that is not me. Now I got to jump in from my own account, the real Keith here, with the blue and then the wrench next to my name. That's me in the chat. But again, I'm flattered. I'm flattered by the Keith McPherson account in the chat, and the rumor that I read in the chat about someone using my voice as the intro of their podcast. We use my voice as the intro to our podcast. So
the Nets use your voice in the outro to the season, in the thank you fans video. Keith was centered and featured. Basically a celebrity at this point.
It was all a dream. I never dreamed of this. I was just a lowly New Jersey Nets fan, watching the Nets lose, tucking my tail, being quiet about my fandom for my New Jersey Nets. Fast forward to this weird 2021 universe we live in now, and I am a popular Nets fan. Crazy. I wouldn't even say I'm a popular Nets fan. I think I'm just a Nets fan, and there's not that many Nets fans. I'm just a Nets fan online. There's not that many Nets fans. But all right, let's get into it and start the show. Last episode was the free agency episode. We talked about a lot of things that went on. We talked about other teams, but let's go back to that quickly. The Nets signed DeAndre Bembry. I don't know if you guys know of this guy from the Raptors, the Hawks, but the biggest thing for me is this is a Jersey guy. I just said I was in New Jersey rooting for the lowly Nets. He is reuniting with Kyrie Irving, who he's known and met before because they went to the same school, St. Patrick's. It's St. Patrick's in, I don't know, West Orange, something like that. I know I saw a lot of people like, what does this signing do for us? What does this add? We don't like what, a lot of people were underwhelmed with what the Nets did in free agency. I wasn't underwhelmed with what the Nets did in free agency because the Nets are the Nets. It isn't like the Nets needed this free agency to become competitive. Hudson, what are your thoughts on the Nets signing DeAndre Bembry and still having DeAndre Jordan on the team? So now we got two DeAndres.
Yeah, I mean, from a basketball perspective, doesn't really push me one way or the other. Pretty good defender, can cause some havoc. It looks like that's kind of what the Nets have been focused on this summer. But what I'm looking for is there might be a day, because we know how the Nets are with injuries, where DeAndre Bembry and Kyrie start in the same lineup. And I don't know if you guys have been to the Barclays Center, but when they announce Kyrie, when they do the big, introduction for him, they say, from Duke University, by way of West Orange, New Jersey, Kyrie Irving. And now we have two of those. So we might go back to back with our backcourt duo saying by way of West Orange, New Jersey. It's the little things. I was never a Jersey guy. Keith was, obviously. I love seeing the Nets reconnect with their history. Obviously, Keith has the jersey on right now, the jersey. And I think it's cool. That's really the biggest takeaway from it. It's a small signing, nothing too exciting, but who knows? Maybe we'll get some fun announcer play out of it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think that when you're building a team and guys are out there, obviously the team has some say. You see this in every sport. You see the influence with the Mets, right? The Mets have Francisco Lindor. They get his boy Javi Baez to come over there. It's just a basic friendship type of thing, or like a degree of separation. And obviously the degree of separation here is Kyrie Irving. Also, the Nets have signed David Duke Jr. Now, don't get confused with the names around here. This is interesting. If you've never heard of David Duke or David Duke Jr., pause the podcast or leave the YouTube, open another tab, search David Duke, and then in another tab, search David Duke Jr. They're not the same.
Yeah, maybe use an incognito tab for the first one. Maybe use it. Look, I don't want anyone getting put on any watch list, but David Duke.
I searched today under my own Google Chrome login just because I thought it was funny. I'm like, what is David Duke actually known for? Like when you Google his name, what comes up and all the stuff that comes up.
Yeah, well, he's a fascist, former Grand Wizard of the Klan, endorsed Donald Trump,
neo-Nazi,
all these crazy neo-Nazi, all of these things. But I'm going to just say, I'm going to say what David Duke Jr., the player on the Nets, said. He actually said this when he was a freshman at Providence. He just went out and he said, when I want people to Google, when I want people to look up David Duke, I want people to see a picture of me. I want to see my face. So I saw a lot of people on Nets Twitter, and I run the Talking Nets account for the most part, especially when I clip the games. People saying DDJ or making sure that there was a junior in there. And look, I think as Nets fans and as the team that he's on, I don't know if he's going to make it. I know he got an Exhibition 10 contract. He's with us for camp. I think whatever we can do to bury the neo-Nazi David Duke, the better. So I will be calling him his name, which is David Duke, and I don't want to have to address it anymore in the future. And I also don't want to see on Twitter any jokes, because there were some people making some jokes about his name, saying some pretty problematic things on Twitter. And I know Nets Twitter is toxic, but not usually in that way. So just keep your head out. Keep your eyes up.
People just can't resist. People are like that. They see something like that and they see an opportunity, but most of these people are anonymous nerds hiding behind a picture that is not of themselves. So either way, moving on here, obviously, you guys know KD has signed. Yeah, KD has signed his extension of 4-year, $198 million extension. KD is a Net for the rest of his career, and he is rich AF for the rest of his life. Congrats to KD. Wins gold this week. Comes back, secures another bag. And what are you thinking about Kevin Durant in the next 4 years? I'll say what I thought right away. I said, we're definitely winning the chip. One of those 4 years, we're definitely getting a championship. And one of those 4 years, this was year one. We got a 5-year window to do this, and I don't expect us to be hurt or injured or, losing a series to the eventual champions again because we're not healthy. What did you think when you saw Kevin Durant is locked in Brooklyn for the next 4 years?
So I don't know if you guys watched, but the NFL Hall of Fame ceremony was just the other day, and everyone got enshrined there. And it got me thinking, when you go into the Hall of Fame, it's not like it is in baseball where you wear the cap and you have to choose which team you're representing. You get remembered with a team, right? you have everyone has this picture of you with Tom Brady. No one's going to really remember him in 50 years as a Buck. They're going to remember him as a Patriot. And seeing KD sign this contract, it made me think net for life. And if he can bring 1-2 championships to Brooklyn within these next couple of years, I'm thinking KD gets remembered as a net, because this is the team where he staked his claim, where he went out and he said, I'm the leader. I'm 1A. Everybody else is behind me. I'm going to be that dude, and I'm going to lead this team to greatness. And I think he finishes his career as a net, and I think he gets remembered as a net, especially if he can do those things. And with that, I think after 1 championship, 2 championships, the day he retires, we all know 7's going in the rafters.
Yeah, they're definitely going to retire his jersey. He's definitely going to bring us back a chip next year. Like, I think it's this next season coming up, 2021 into 2022. And he's Mr. Brooklyn. You guys saw when they wrote in the paper, oh, Mr. Brooklyn's got to carry the Nets by himself. And he damn sure did. We were a couple inches away. But also, Patty Mills signed, sealed, delivered. And I know they've been circulating that video of the medal presentation in Tokyo where KD has Patty Mills walk up on him, and Patty Mills is like, you're tall. And they're kind of celebrating together. And they see Ime, and they basically tell Ime, like, it's going to be some problems for your Boston Celtics. That warmed my heart. I love to see them talking trash like that, because it's definitely going to be problems for the Celtics. They don't want to smoke with KD or Patty. Patty was going off. He
led all players in scoring in the Olympics. He dropped a 40 bomb. Make no mistakes about Patty Mills.
He was going off. He was shooting from anywhere he got the ball. So he signs. Blake Griffin signs. And that's great for us, man. We've got veterans. We've got pedigree. And I know there's a lot of Nets fans that were like, what did we do? We didn't do anything in free agency. The Nets failed in free agency. It's like, look at the roster right now. Look at the 20 guys on the roster right now. And think about these rumors right now, right? Okay, so 3 names I want to mention, and we'll talk about all 3 of these, Hudson. We'll start off first with Andre Iguodala, AI. So there were some rumors about AI potentially coming to the Nets. I didn't really pay it much attention. Did we even post anything? I think you tweeted, like, do we want Iggy?
I did. I asked if we wanted him, because the news came kind of late. The news that the Nets were a top 2 candidate with the Warriors came maybe like 20 minutes before he actually announced that he was signing with the Warriors. So there wasn't really that much time to talk about it at all.
Yeah, and I mean, I just feel like this, right? Iggy is a great player, a champion, but he's also washed. Like, I see a lot of people calling for these washed players. I see a lot of people celebrating, what the Lakers did. And last episode, we talked about their age. What the Nets need for a title run, we've got enough guys over 30. What the Nets need for a title run is health and youth. And we have some healthy bodies and we have some young legs. So the next name that I mentioned, LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, LaMarcus Aldridge isn't completely washed, but he's washed. And he's rumored to be seeking a return to the NBA, looking for a team now that he's going to get clearance from his heart issue, his medical issues. I don't know if he comes back to Brooklyn, Hudson, but would you like to see LaMarcus Aldridge run it back? He said he liked it here. He said he felt welcome here. He said it felt right here.
I mean, honestly, I'd like to see him back in the NBA as a whole. I think it would be a good sign. I don't think any doctor, I don't think any team would sign him, would allow him to play in the NBA if they thought there was like a chance that he might have a heart attack or get sick or, something bad happen on the court. That would be, something that would be really beyond the pale, and that would obviously be tragic. So to see him back in the court at all would be awesome. To see him in a Nets jersey, man, why not? What he showed last year was very impressive. Obviously, it was a small sample size, but it was very impressive. Now, who knows? Maybe he hasn't touched a basketball court since he retired. I don't know. But if we can get that same player for a cheap deal, role player money, veteran minimum, that's no worries. If the Nets should pick him up, if he wants to come to the Nets, come to the Nets. I don't think more depth is ever going to hurt, especially with the way the Nets have been getting injured in recent years. So why not run it back?
Yeah, please run it back. I'm still looking for another big. And LaMarcus Aldridge came in and you just immediately saw his pedigree. You saw his experience. You saw how he could score the ball. No, he wasn't the greatest defender. but that's okay. We could have damn sure used him for this run. And if he's looking to come back, I would love him to just step right back into Brooklyn so that he can erase the way his career ended in Brooklyn and kind of rewrite that story. So the last name I would like to mention in these rumors, going back to free agency and right now and talking about this roster being full, J.J. Redick, hailing from, hold on, Duke University. You guys know I'm a Duke fan. Go Devils, go. Let's go Devils, go. Can you guys see my Duke Blue Devil in the camera? You could see that. So obviously I'm a Duke fan, and I watched JJ Redick at Duke. I had number 4 JJ Redick jersey that I took off in the club at JMU, and someone stole it. And then after that, they weren't selling JJ Redick jerseys. So would I want a Brooklyn Nets JJ Redick jersey? No, I'm not interested in JJ Redick at age 37, going on like 38. He's had past injuries. He doesn't fit a need on this team. We've got enough guards. I was talking to DJ on Twitter, and DJ was talking about his Achilles injury, and like the Nets already having enough medical issues and older players with health problems and guys that have missed time. Hudson, what are you thinking about JJ Redick signing with the Brooklyn Nets? A tweet came out today, and I'll read the tweet. This is from Evan Massey. He's his profile says he's been on Forbes, ESPN, Yahoo, Fox Sports. I've never heard of him until today. But he said, per a league source, whenever someone starts a tweet that it says per a league source, like that could be anything or anyone. The Nets and JJ Redick have had discussions about a potential deal. Other teams are interested as well. That tweet means nothing to me. That's a whole tweet of nothing. I don't think it's true. And the Nets and JJ Redick could have had discussions about a potential deal. They could have been having these discussions over the last 4 years that JJ Redick has lived in Brooklyn. But if it's me and I'm talking to Sean Marks, I'm like, listen, bro, we good. We don't need JJ Redick. And for you haters out there that want to stay on Joe Harris's back forever, don't even start talking about, oh, Joe Harris couldn't hit the shots and JJ Redick could. Go ahead, Hudson. What are your thoughts about JJ Redick to the Brooklyn Nets?
Look, we can't be the same fans that are clowning the Lakers for having like the oldest starting lineup in the league and like, oh, you're not a super team. You got all these old players. And then going out there and say, yeah, but let's bring JJ to Brooklyn. Let's get him to Brooklyn. That's a Lakers type move. And there's been all these rumors for a long time about JJ coming to Brooklyn. He lives here. He's wanted to come here. There was all this stuff. I just think it would have happened by now, Like something would have happened. We really would have already know. It wouldn't be some random guy, per a league source, calling cap on that, honestly. But it's just not going to happen. And if it does, I don't think it moves the needle that much. I don't think the Nets are in a position now that the Dinwiddie trade is over, and we're going to talk about the Dinwiddie trade coming up soon. I don't think the Nets are in a position where that kind of a signing, or really any signing that we can make with the players that are left on the market, would move the needle all that much. And JJ Redick falls in that same category for me. I don't think he would hurt. I mean, good veteran leadership. He lives in Brooklyn. I'm sure he'd be happy here. Good presence in the locker room. But I don't know. It just doesn't really seem like it would make that much of a difference at all.
No, that's not a Sean Marks move, in my opinion. I don't think that's not a move that you're like, damn, in Marks we trust. Sean Marks went and signed JJ Redick. This team is set for the most part. There's young guys on this team. There are veterans on this team. There are bucket getters on this team, and a couple bigs on this team, and some different faces on this team. And obviously, we lose Spence. We lose Jeff Green. We lose. Who else did we lose that we're not even thinking of? Definitely someone like Chioza. Is Chioza coming back?
Nah, he's in the Warriors now. He's with the Warriors.
There's somebody else I'm forgetting from this team. Obviously Bruce is back. TLC, did TLC end up going anywhere? Is TLC gonna?
We don't know where TLC is going. Olympic, was he a bronze medalist? TLC.
And that is how I segue into our next topic. Team USA, KD, the best Olympic men's basketball player ever, all time. I think I read somewhere that Carmelo also has 3 gold medals, but If we're talking Melo, KD, like
Well, KD leads in like total points,
scoring.
total shooting percentage, scoring, all these things.
Yeah.
KD's the best of all time.
Yeah, it's not close. If we're just measuring medals, there's another player with the same amount of medals as him, but not that many points. I think they said KD was the first Olympian to average over 20 in every game this year. Like, I think it's funny because we started talking about Team USA like a month ago, and I was like, they probably go undefeated. They did go undefeated after that first game. And that first game when they lost to France, people were like, France? What the France? And I'm like, yo, France has good players. Rudy Gobert is a beast, defensive player of the year. They even said, like, Dame Lillard came out and was like, yo, they play differently for their country. TLC is better when he's playing for France. Evan Fournier is better when he's playing for France. So I think TLC got ahead of himself. It's funny. We'll see if he ends up back with the Nets. He was talking about the gold as if they had already won it. I forget the exact quote, but he said something like, this run is going to be special because we're actually going to win it all. And they spoke too soon. I know Draymond was going at everyone from Kendrick Perkins to Nick Wright to all the doubters, all the haters, because a lot of people were jumping ship. A lot of people were using this USA basketball team as a way to throw shots at KD, throw shots at American basketball, saying that the other countries have caught up. KD's response to that was like, nah, this skill level is unmatched. And they went out and handled business. Now, I didn't see the second game against France that they won it, but I did watch the first half against Australia. And that's another team, right? I don't know if you guys all watched. I don't know if you guys all paid attention. I watched 2 of these games in the Olympics. They're NBA All-Star games. They're NBA players on every national team, I think, for the most part. Or the ones that make it to the later rounds, they're all led by NBA players. Even Nigeria, like there are NBA players on these teams. I'm watching Patty Mills and Joe Ingles and Dante Exum, Thibault. Who else is on Australia? They had a good team. Like they were giving Team USA a run for their money in the game that I watched. It was a game that came on at like 12:15 in the morning. I think the Yankees had played late, and I was like, all right, I'm going to stay up and watch this. And I was like, this is a good team. This is an all-star team. They're not just going to roll the ball out there and beat these guys. These guys are playing for their country. They're playing for respect, and they want to win. So, Hudson, did you catch any? I think I texted you late, like at 12:30 one night.
Totally didn't respond. I saw that the next morning. I was fast asleep.
I don't care if you responded or
fast
not,
asleep.
But I was up watching it. I'm like, you watch him, and we had already known Patty Mills was a net. So I'm like, you watching Patty versus KD? Like Patty Mills was shooting threes, KD was hooping, and I just was pleased because 2 of the leaders in the world basketball competition play for the Brooklyn Nets.
Still there? Good vibes. That's all. I just got good vibes. It was fun watching KD. Like KD draped in the flag. You love to see it. KD on IG Live with Patty Mills. It was all good. It looked like fun. It looked like KD and Patty are getting along, which is cool. I'm excited to see what them two especially are going to be able to do. I think Patty Mills is a big signing. Patty Mills, big underrated signing. You know, really kind of flew under the radar, and then we get him, and that was really huge in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people are hating on Patty Mills. I'm like, this is exactly what we need. Like, this is like we could have used Patty Mills last year when everybody in the entire universe knew KD was going to take the shot. We could have used Patty Mills when Kyrie was hurt, when Harden was on one leg. So congrats to Team USA. Congrats to KD. It's just another notch on his ridiculous resume as a basketball player. It's good to see the USA win gold. And right after that, we got to see, the actual Nets play. Well, not the actual Nets, but our future Nets have started up competition out there in Las Vegas. The Summer League is underway. And obviously, you're looking for the big names like Cam Thomas. You're looking for Day'Ron Sharpe. But this game was started by one Brandon Knight. And someone asked me, they're like,
I didn't know if we were going to mention him. I didn't know if you were going to mention him. Oh, yeah, my God.
I'm not going to be as mean as everybody else because somebody hit me and they were like, yo, why is Brandon Knight on this team? I'm like, so Kyrie can cook him in practice. No, Brandon Knight is 29 going on 30. He was National Player of the Year, went to Kentucky. You guys know DeAndre Jordan is dunked on him. If he can make it to practice, I'm sure he's going to have some jokes with DeAndre Jordan and Kyrie about the blooper reels and his most embarrassing moments in the NBA. But people were like, oh my God, not Patty Mills. Like, oh my God, Brandon Knight is terrible. Why is he on this team? Why is he shooting? And I'm like, this is the summer league, bros. Like, exactly. Like, you think he's happy to be in the summer league? No, he's fighting his way back. He's trying to get on a team. You know, I'm a 3-sport guy. So to give you an example in another sport, it's when an older player gets signed with the team and is trying to make the team in spring training in baseball. Let's see, like a Derek Dietrich for the Yankees, trying to make the team. He's already had a major league career. He fell off. He's trying to stick with another team. It's like in the NFL when you see a guy that bounced around on a couple teams. I don't know, like a Terrell Owens is in camp with the Seahawks, trying to make the Seattle Seahawks team. There's a good chance that he doesn't make the team at all, but he's going to be out there in Vegas with these young guys, being a veteran, hopefully, teaching some of these young guys, and hopefully get some buckets for us too. Now, before we talk about the main guys that we saw yesterday and that we were pumped about, share your thoughts on Brandon Knight getting the run with the Brooklyn Nets out in Vegas.
Look, first off, I agree. I understand what he's trying to do, but as someone who was watching the summer league, and this is my first time like really studying the summer league, because like we had like last year there wasn't any, and then the year before, you know, we were all interested in seeing what was going to happen on the court, the real court, not really the summer league. I was just like really, really excited and up to see our young guys, to see our rookies, and like to see Brandon Knight come out and just blow layups and take these open threes and take the ball out of Cam Thomas's hand. It was just like hang him up, dude. Like I get what you're doing.
Tim Tebow's making a comeback. Tim Tebow's making a comeback at 33.
Go be the Mike James. Go be Mike James. Go do it somewhere else. I just want to watch Cam Thomas ball. I don't want him in the Nets world. I know it doesn't matter. I'm not angry with him. I'm not like, why are we playing him? Oh, we're going to lose this summer league game. I'm just like, man, I want to watch David Duke and Cam Thomas and Day'Ron Sharpe and Kessler Edwards, who didn't even play.
Yeah.
Well,
it's okay. It's the first game. We got another game tomorrow. Some people be listening to this Wednesday. You got a game to watch tonight and Thursday. And at least they're on. At least like they're scheduled on ESPN2, and I think some are on NBA TV. Like they're available for you to watch. So basketball fans, especially Nets fans that are hungry for some new energy to put last year in the rear view, we've got guys out there. Reggie Perry is and we always say this, Reggie Perry is our guy. Reggie Perry is the only active Brooklyn Net to come on Talking Nets. We'll work on that. I have a couple things that have to get done, and then we're going to start bringing guests on before the season starts. But it was good to see him out there wearing that number 0. Nick Claxton is not out there, and we talked about that last episode. I was kind of surprised, but maybe that tells you.
There was some drama that came out. Nick Claxton's camp said that the Nets wanted him there, and Nick Claxton's camp said no.
Wow, I didn't know that. Fill me in.
That news broke right before the game, right before the summer league game. It came out that the Nets were like, all right, you're gonna play, you're eligible. And I wish I could have seen him play. I'm sure he would have dominated. But he didn't play, and his camp said no, and so he's not there. And I don't know. I'm sad about it because I would have loved to see him really show the improvement in his game.
I mean, I don't know. I thought that was a decision made by the Nets, and now that you're telling me his camp is telling, like, that's not a good look. That's not a good look. Your camp, I guess Nick Claxton's camp thinks he's ahead of that or he's above that, but there's a lot of guys that played. Just yesterday, Bane from the Grizzlies, he played for the Grizzlies.
He cooked us for 32 points. Exactly.
He was in that whole game. Like he probably played more than Claxton played this year. If it's not close, and he played that full
he was game. Like, I think he was third team all NBA rookie team too.
Yeah, Emmanuel Quigley from the Knicks. He played a lot. He played in the playoffs more than Claxton played, and he was in the summer league game for the Knicks yesterday. So I don't know about that. We'll see how that all plays out. But let's talk about the boy Cam Thomas. If you haven't done this is another opportunity for you to pause the podcast or exit the YouTube and come back, open up another tab, right? Go to the Google search or just go to YouTube and search Cam Thomas highlights.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Go do that. Like I did that a couple days ago when I just was starting to learn about Cam Thomas. I was just intrigued by the little clips that we saw from the draft. And then I love the fact that he wore 24. He's a Kobe disciple, Mamba mentality. He's going to get to work with KD and Kyrie. So I was like, let me look up his highlights from college. The boy is a bucket getter. He's the definition of a bucket getter, bro. When he shoots,
led the SEC in scoring.
When he shoots, it's like he's dropping a drop of water in the bucket. It's like so beautiful. His shot, the way the ball just comes off his hands and plops down in the rim, it's perfect. And
he's like shifty. He's fast. Like I think he's got to like get his range locked in when it comes to shooting threes. But he's confident. He's aggressive. And so yesterday he put up 17 points. 10 of those points came on like a 10-0 personal run in the fourth quarter when he was just really going off and getting the Nets back into the Summer League game. And people are going to talk about he shot 5 of 15 from the field. And I want to say, first off, it's Summer League. It doesn't matter. When his shot wasn't falling, he showed the ability to get to the rim and then get fouled and get to the line. That is going to be huge on this Nets team. I think he's going to learn a thing or two from Kyrie and James Harden. And as a player that led the SEC in free throw percentage and led the nation in made free throws, I am absolutely excited to see what he's going to be able to do because he showed some flashes in this Summer League game. And it's just one game. It's just a Summer League game. But as a bench scorer, as someone that can come off the bench and contribute with that second team, I'm excited for him.
I'm excited for him too. I'm trying to pull up the Summer League scores because I think I read this morning he had 19. I know we put it out there that he had 17.
Oh, I really thought he had 17. Oh,
obviously,
boy.
one bucket does not matter. But I'm trying to pull up the scores so I can get some other info out of the box scores. Alize Johnson, 13.7 rebounds. And I don't know if y'all saw, we posted on Twitter. Alize Johnson was out there balling at Dykeman. I like that. I like Brooklyn Nets players going out there and playing in the streets of New York that like aren't from New York. That's sick. I think his team that he played at Dykeman, the team name was called Famous Nobodies. I love that for him. Like pull up there and get buckets. So he had 13. Johnson had 13. Weatherspoon had 13. Yes, Cam Thomas ended up with 19. He was 6 of 8 from the free throw line.
They're saying in the chat that those 2 points were attributed to the wrong person. So I'm not at fault.
Whatever. Literally, it's the offseason. It's Summer League. That doesn't matter. It's perfectly fine. So what I was saying is 6 for 8 from the free throw line. The dude gets to the free throw line. And I'm trying not to judge his game or critique his game too much because the biggest step that this young man is going to take in his career and his life right now is when he gets in camp with pros and he gets in the camp with the big three and guys that are like all worldly. They're going to pull him up. They're going to coach him up. He's going to get a lot better, but he creates his own shot. He gets to the line. And once he gets around scorers like KD, Kyrie, and Harden, come on, they're going to unlock his potential. So I think he's somebody that we could see get buckets for us this year. I know a lot of you were tight watching Bruce Brown not be able to make layups, watching Bruce Brown not be able to get buckets unless they were like a wide open floater in the paint. Who else? Joe Harris not being able to knock down shots. Landry Shamet, who struggled in the beginning of the year. This young man is a natural. This dude is not going to struggle to score. Hopefully he can defend. And speaking of defending, another guy that I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more from, Mr. Day'Ron Sharpe. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the video.
Sir.
I don't know if you saw the video of Roy Williams at like a dinner for Day'Ron Sharpe. I think it was Day'Ron Sharpe's like draft dinner or something after he was done playing at UNC. And he basically said he expects Sharpe to be a Hall of Famer. He thinks that highly of this guy. And I think he told a story about maybe that's what he told Paul Pierce. I don't know if it was Paul Pierce, but he basically said, I expect the same from you. And if Roy Williams, who has been in the game for decades and has seen all of the top players and coach some of the top players at UNC and Kansas. If that guy is saying, I expect you to have a Hall of Fame career, that's who you're getting on your Brooklyn Nets. And he looked good yesterday. He looked
looked like something the Nets don't have, which is a body dominant center playing in the paint who did hit a mid-range shot. So I am absolutely thrilled with what I saw from him because he was rim running. He had that one steal and dunk in transition. He looked real good. And people are saying as a 19-year-old, he might be the Nets answer at 5 in terms of like who's going to be a big body. I know the Nets like to go slow with prospects, but I don't know. Seeing what he did, I'm excited. He's something that the Nets don't have, and if he can find himself a spot on this team, imagine him throwing down lobs from James Harden. Imagine that. The high screen and roll. It might be coming. It might be happening.
Yeah, they're going to figure it out in camp. Iron sharpens iron. So get these young stud rookies that we drafted into camp with the best players in the NBA. They're going to push them to be the best. I'm looking forward to it. Camp can't come soon enough. Summer League is cool, but getting these guys into camp is what I'm looking forward to. And hopefully we'll be invited to the HSS Center. Hopefully we'll get some press or media access to media day or some practices before that so we can show you guys what's going on. But other than that, Hudson, I looked at the notes. I didn't see anything that you added.
Maybe it didn't come in, but
sometimes it doesn't adjust. But let's go here. The upcoming games this week, the Brooklyn Nets Summer League. We played yesterday, Monday, against the Grizzlies. We have a game coming up Wednesday, August 11th. That could be tonight if you're listening to the podcast. 4 p.m. Eastern versus the Bucks. Thursday, August 12th, right after tomorrow, today, whatever. 5 p.m. we play the Wizards. So if you didn't see the game Monday, make sure you're tuned in to ESPN2 the next couple days. The Nets will be on. Our young Nets will be on. And I think you're just going to get a good look at some guys like Reggie Perry, Alize Johnson, Cam Thomas, Day'Ron Sharpe. Hopefully we see Kessler Edwards. Maybe we see less of Brandon Knight. I doubt it, though. He just gets the nod as a veteran. And it'll hold you over. It'll hold you over for the rest of this month. And then next thing you know, it's September. You'll have the NFL kicking off. You'll have MLB winding down. And then as soon as that happens, boom, we're right back into the next NBA season. I can't wait. So, Hudson, any other tidbits, any other topics, anything that you wanted to add to the notes that didn't refresh once I clicked in?
Yeah, so we didn't really touch on it, but we finally got the news. It's kind of old news now. It's been close to a week, but on what were the Nets got back in the Spencer Dinwiddie trade. And It wasn't Deni Avdija, and it wasn't Kyle Kuzma, and it wasn't any of those guys that we thought it was going to be. It was a future second in 2025, I think, and then in 2026, a future swap second and a $1.5 million or $11.5 million trade exception. But the biggest news that came out of this was a little bit of a tidbit that got dropped by our friend Christian Winfield. Said, quote, in an article after the trade, the Nets were unwilling to part ways with DeAndre Jordan as part of the deals, despite his position fixed at the end of his rotation, league sources tell the news. He is on the hook for $20 million more over the next 2 seasons, but his bond with the Big Three is too strong for a deal to consummate, per source.
Okay. I don't know. I don't have really anything to add to that. I'm still looking through stuff. I want to go to the chat and give you guys this last bit of time to get your thoughts in, but y'all were really ODing in the chat. Like, I just had to put a couple people on time out. Y'all were being extra weirdos, like too much. I don't even want to read or repeat some of the stuff that I was seeing in the chat because
we gotta chill with the catfish Keith and Hudson accounts in the chat. We just gotta calm down with those.
We have a fake Hudson Flynn in the chat now, and then I don't know, hella emojis and just some suspect activity and conversation. Let's get back to basketball, folks. So now I will play a voicemail, and you guys get your questions and thoughts ready. I think the last thing I'll say is congrats to Spencer Dinwiddie. I loved his contract. I love that there was a lot of incentives in there and a $1 bonus for winning the NBA Finals or getting to the NBA Finals, which the Wizards will literally never do with Spencer Dinwiddie on the team. You can clip this, you can screen grab this,
Book
you
it.
can screen
Both
record
takes
it.
exposed. Yeah.
Like, do whatever you want with that. That's never gonna happen. And lastly, with DeAndre Jordan, man, oh, bro, like, the thing about DeAndre Jordan is coming into this offseason, I didn't really care what we did in free agency because, like, I just have faith in this team. I know this team was this close to winning a championship while guys were down. The one thing I did want to see was the Brooklyn Nets get DeAndre Jordan up out of here and his money up out of here, but it's not going to happen. It's not something that it's twofold. It's not something that the Nets really want to do because of his chemistry, right? They're going to literally keep this guy on the bench. What does he make? Doesn't he make like
He's
$8 million?
10 mil a year, $20 million left.
Oh, bruh. He makes like $10 million a year, and he's going to be a mic'd up coach on the sideline, clapping and coaching up Day'Ron Sharpe and Nick Claxton. Nick Claxton, you better be ready to rock. That boy Day'Ron Sharpe is in Summer League. You could have been over there battling with him. But back to DJ. Yeah, so it's like, I guess we use DJ at some points during the season for minutes. Maybe he comes in, maybe he comes in better shape and a better player. But this offseason, I was hoping we got him.
That's not going to happen.
And we did not. So here's a voicemail that I usually don't play voicemails like this. I usually, listen to these and then I skip over them. And I think this one came in last week when Kemba Walker signed, and we got a quick laugh out of that. So this is where this voicemail comes from.
I don't just have concerns about free agency.
Nope, hold on, because you guys know how this goes. It never plays correctly. All right.
I don't just have concerns about free agency. I have concerns over the whole fucking franchise because you have KD and Kyrie signed with a team that has no reputation, hasn't won any championships in their history. All right. Nice. That's like the luckiest thing ever. And they're wasting that. They brought in James Harden. They brought in Blake Griffin. They have this whole ass team, and the two of them can't even play because they're so dysfunctional. The Nets are such a fucking dog shit franchise, and they'll never be bigger than the Knicks, even if the Knicks are last in the league every year. And the Nets signed fucking LeBron as well. I mean, it's fucking laughable that they didn't win this year. They got bounced by the fucking Milwaukee Bucks.
All right, that's enough. For you Knicks fans, I see a Knicks fan in the chat, and that was definitely a Knicks fan. You could just smell the Knicks energy coming through the phone. That's not even like a Nets fan that like is, mad about free agency calling in. That's a clear Knicks fan that called our hotline because it's wide open to anyone. And if you have Twitter or Instagram, we encourage you to call in. Someone else called in, but their message, all it said was, "Let's go Nets." And then there was another one from our guy JJ a couple weeks ago that never got played, but now it's outdated. But back to the Knicks, and back to you Knicks fans, you Knickerbockers, you Madison Squares. You're so quick to say rent free. You're so quick to say that we're always talking about the Knicks, but that's the type of shit your fans do. That's not the first call I've ever gotten with that type of energy from the Knicks fans. That happens literally twice a month. During the season and now even after the season. So the Knicks signed Kemba Walker and they paid Julius Randle. And I would like to take this moment to let any Knicks fans in the chat know, any Nets fans listening that have friends that are Knicks fans, the Knicks did not get better. Not with their draft, not with free agency, and not in this Eastern Conference. So I don't want to hear it. I can't wait to see y'all. I can't wait to sweep y'all. Nets world, baby. I don't care about New York forever. I don't care who you think runs the city. I think this nerd fan that called the hotline said they'll never be better than the Knicks. Come on, bro. Come on. Just stop. You guys got to give it up. This is the year. This is the full season that you're going to see an 82-game season from the Brooklyn Nets tear through the league and then bring a championship back to New York, and there's going to be a parade.
It's some delusional energy, and it's just strange because the Nets were bad for a long time, but I don't know if people know this, but for a time, they were very, very good. They were very, very good at basketball in the early 2000s. They could have brought clownish energy and high expectations to this fan base. But they didn't. We didn't say we were going to win the championship when we had D'Lo on the team. We didn't say any of that nonsense. And it's just strange. It's just some very, very strange energy. And there's a level of commitment that you have to type in a phone number from our Twitter and leave a voicemail with the hopes of being on the podcast. Like, I wonder if that guy is going to listen to, what are we, 50 minutes into this podcast, maybe a little less, and see, oh my God, I got featured. Like, I wonder if he's going to know. But it's funny. Who knows? Very strange, clownish energy, but this is nothing new.
So for those wondering, that call might have been from Ray Romano. Your boy Ray got himself blocked. That's the second time he got blocked. I don't know if he'll ever be back in this Talking Nets chat. He was doing the most. I just flashed a couple of his messages from the chat on the big screen. Yo, this is not the place, bro. Like, this is not where you come to do that Knicks talk and bash the Nets around here. This is Talking Nets. So let's wrap this thing up. Appreciate y'all joining us as we talk about Summer League, Olympics, free agency, signings, and really we're just killing time until the 2021-2022 season tips off. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast. We are still growing. We are still doing what we do. Our company is growing. We look better when we can flex our numbers. I think we just broke 700 subscribers on YouTube. We consistently get hundreds of downloads of the podcast, a couple hundred streams here. And this is just Hudson and I. This is a two-man show. This is a two-man product. The same guys that you see talking on this microphone, the same guys that you see are the same guys that you see posting the Twitter and the Instagram. So make sure you follow us on social media at Talking Nets, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube. Support. Go to shop.johnboymedia.com. Go to podcast merch. Click on Talking Nets. Get you some Nets merch. And last but not least, call that voicemail. Don't be a hater, though. You Knicks haters can chill. We'll have plenty of times to talk about the Knicks when we play the Knicks. But 201-870-0461 is the voicemail. And that's all we've got. Got some things coming together. I think next week, the boy Hudson Flynn will be in the Bronx. Am I correct?
We will be in the Bronx.
So we're probably going to see if we could set something up for an in-person or live episode from the studio. I think it's time to take it there. And then, like I said, I'm going to start reaching out to some guests as we get closer to the ramp up of the next season. And we're going to keep doing what we do. And hopefully we can give you guys some other content outside of the podcast. We'll be covering the Summer League, and we'll be going and wherever we're invited. Brooklyn Nets ticket office, Brooklyn Nets people in social media, Yes Network, whoever might be watching, hit us up. We'll come through and cover whatever you got going on. And that's all we've got. I'm pumped for the Nets. Regardless of what a hater got to say, we are the favorites. And every day and every week that you listen to this podcast, we're another day and week closer to the championship run. And that's it. Appreciate y'all in the chat. Y'all are doing too much. There's really no reason to even go to any questions from the chat from the way the chat went. I definitely need some mods. That's what I'm going to put out there. We need some mods. All the other John Boy Media shows, for the most part, have mods, moderators. That's what we need. We need some mods for the chat because y'all be tweaking. That's all we got, baby. Let's go Nets. Let's go Nets. Brooklyn.